Today I'm going to be reviewing 7 formulas from Moira Beauty. I first heard about the brand from Moira Beauty. She did like a massive brand review video. She did a ton of swatches, bought a ton of different shades, and that was really helpful for me in placing my order. So I was really excited because I knew that it was an affordable brand from her video, but as I looked into the brand further, I got even more excited because they're a 100% cruelty-free brand. They're affordable, and they pride themselves on having really high quality products. So my expectations were very high. If you're new here, I'm Kate, and I tend to have a more critical lens when I review products to help you save money and also to help myself maintain a more minimal collection for a YouTuber. So I'm really picky, and a product really has to impress me in order to make my final collection. And I have to give you a spoiler alert right in the beginning here that there are more hits out of this brand than there are misses for me, and that is extremely rare, but even more rare for an affordable brand. So really excited to tell you about everything today. So I'm gonna organize the video from hits first, the kind of like so-so products in the middle, and then the fails at the end. And by far my favorite formula from Moira are the Lucent cream shadows. I'm wearing one of them on my lids today, as well as their shadow pot on my lid. So this is the shade Orion, and I would describe it as like a sheer peachy base with lots of very fine silver shimmer. It's kind of like the creamier, less glittery version of Urban Decay's Space Cowboy, and only for $7.50. So let's talk about the claims of the product. The website says that the Lucent shadow delivers blendable, soft cream gel formula with silky rich pigment. They either glide on evenly using a brush, or for an incandescent finish, use your fingertips. I find that these work much better with your finger. You just get way better payoff. And because these do have little glitters in them, I find that using a brush can kind of create a little bit more fallout. So I would just go straight in with your fingers. I'll drop in a clip of the shade Orion, which I have just been wearing non-stop on my channel and my Instagram ever since I got this. It's truly my perfect everyday eyeshadow. It has a semi-sheer base, and it has enough kind of shimmer in it to give me that glitter satisfaction that I love without being like an ultra glittery look. And I just love this cream to powder formula. It's so satisfying to apply, similar to the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, but I find those to be more of a powder feeling. These feel more like, the Maybelline like bouncy blushes or the MAC Glow Play blushes. You can like press it and really leave an indent. So they just generally feel a little bit creamier to me than the Super Shock shadows. I just love this. I think that they come in a bunch of super fun colors, and that's something I really enjoy about Moira. They have colors that are very like natural, everyday shades. They have bright neon colors, they have glitter finishes, they have matte finishes. They just seem to have something for everyone, whether you like minimal makeup like I do, or if you're like an ultra glam kind of gal. It just seems like they have something for everyone. So I really appreciate that. I did a wear test for the shade Orion, and I was pretty impressed. Even though it is a cream to powder formula and it does crease, because it never fully sets down and it maintains that creaminess, all you have to do is just like tap it back in with your finger, and then it looks good to go. It's just a little bit faded. There was a little bit of fallout at the end of the day for me, just a tiny bit under my eyes, but with any kind of glitter formula, I think that's pretty standard. And for something that's only $7, it's a pretty good deal. I did hear from a bunch of people that these creased really badly on them. So if you tend to have a problem with creasing or you have really oily lids, maybe you'd want to have a powder formula instead. But if you're like me and you just kind of have generally a little bit of creasing that's never too bad, then I would probably try this formula. I know Amanda Z really loves this as well, and she influenced me to pick up the shade Jupiter, which is a really interesting one. On the website, Jupiter looks very similar to Orion, kind of like a sheer peachy rose gold base with silver shimmer, but in person, the shimmer is actually very teal, and the base pigment almost has a little bit of like a pinky rosiness to it. And I find that it really does translate to a teal on my eyes. It really does seem to shift from like a mint to a blue to like a peachy rose. It's a really interesting shade, and I find that it's just so fun for like going to a concert or a night out. I love the Lucent Cream Shadow formula so much. I have 4 more in my cart. Moving on to my second favorite product, and the other one that I'm wearing on my eyes today, we have the Starshow shadow pots, and today I'm wearing the shade Showtime, which is basically like a slightly peachy, slightly champagne-y gold. These are also $7.50, and let's talk about the claims. So Moira says that their Starshow shadow pot collection delivers buildable, loose pigment formula infused with micro fine glitters and light reflecting pearls to elevate multi-dimensional looks every time. It's lightweight, high pigment, glides across lids with ease to create sheer, bold, and comfortable long wear looks. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I feel like a lot of you will have the reference point of the Victoria Beckham lid lusters. So compared to the lid lusters, these are very much more loosely pressed. Like they're just, it's practically a loose pigment, but just like ever so slightly pressed, which to me means that you get way more payoff. I have a lid luster here I can compare them to. Wow. Super similar formula. Also, I noticed that Moira's lip gloss formula is very similar to the Victoria Beckham, and the lid lusters are super similar to the Starshow shadow pots. Are we? I don't know. Do we have some dupeable moments here? We might. So I'm just going to show you on the back of my hand. I have the Moira Cosmetics Starshow shadow pot in Showtime in Eureka compared to the Victoria Beckham lid luster in Mink on the back of my hand. So this is Moira Eureka, Moira Showtime, Victoria Beckham, Mink. And I think you can see, especially on the Eureka swatch, that this is clearly more loosely packed because there's like more product kind of falling out. To me, the difference between the formulas is the Victoria Beckham ones have more base pigment to them, whereas the Moira ones have a little bit more of a sheer base, but are much more shimmering, much more impactful with the glitter. And I think you can see that on the back of my hand. Like if you pay attention to the shine factor, you can see that Victoria Beckham has more base pigment and the Moira Starshow shadow pots are more shiny. What that also means though is that the Moira ones, being a lot more like fluffy, have a lot more fallout. So that's my one con with this product, which is why I probably won't pick up more shades. I'll insert a clip here of the shade Showtime. You can see it's a really pretty, great everyday shade for me, just kind of like a, you know, peachy, champagne-y gold. And I definitely recommend using your fingers so you get less fallout. But no matter what I do with this formula, I do always end up getting some fallout underneath my eyes, which you can see right here. It definitely gathers kind of underneath my eyes in the corners, but it never falls so far like all the way under my eyes or onto my cheekbones or anything crazy like that. I would probably just do your eye makeup first and then wipe it off and you're good to go. It's really not bad. And when I do get the fallout under my eyes from the shadow pots, I just take my concealer brush and I kind of like flick it and I can kind of flick the glitter off and then it looks just fine. So for me personally, I actually prefer the Starshow shadow pots over the Victoria Beckham lid lusters because, I mean, the price comparison is just astronomically different. This is $7.50 and the Victoria Beckham lid lusters are $36. And I frankly like the sheerer base and the shinier appearance of the Starshow shadow pots. So I think they're a really great option and I love that they come in a lot of really fun colors. Let's move on to the shade Eureka. This one's really fun. I didn't do a full look with this, but you can see it applied on my eyes here. It's just like a really beautiful, sheer kind of silvery taupe base with kind of a blue shift, I would say. It's really beautiful. Some lights it looks more purple, some lights looks more silver, some lights it looks more blue. It's just a really gorgeous, fun shade and I can definitely see myself wearing this to like a concert, New Year's Eve, fun events, things like that. So love the Star Shadow pots, just have a little bit of an issue with the fallout, but it's honestly not that big of a deal. Continuing in the hits category, we're moving on to lips and we have their Luminizer gloss in the shade Beloved. It's $8.50. It comes in 18 shades and the claims are it's a highly pigmented lightweight lip treatment serum that's not sticky and will hydrate the lips at the same time. Formulated with rosehip, honey, and Revidrate. I don't know what that is. To keep lips plump and soft with one easy swipe. I have another interesting comparison. So I'm wearing the shade Beloved with their must-have lip liner in Warm Toast, and I'll build it up for you. I did notice it's very serum-like. It's kind of like if you mixed a lip gloss with a lip serum, like very much something thinner, more slippery. It's a very non-sticky formula. It doesn't feel too lightweight on the lips, you know? It doesn't feel like it's sliding all around, getting in my mouth, migrating outside my lip lines. A lot of times I feel like lip oils or lip serums or lip products that are just on the thinner side tend to accentuate my vertical lip lines. They tend to kind of get in my mouth or slide around a little bit. So if you like a more lightweight, buttery serum-like product, then I think this is a really great option, not just for an affordable brand, but for a brand in general. One thing I will say is I had a really hard time figuring out what shades I wanted. The shade Beloved looks nothing like the picture online, and Moira really does not do a good job at kind of helping you figure out what the shades are going to look like. They have a bunch of arm swatches on different skin tones, but they're all artificial digital swatches, which I never find helpful. They do have like a lip swatch picture on the website, but it looked totally different to mine. And so I just had a hard time figuring out like what these shades were were gonna look like at all. I feel like what I got was actually rosier than the picture. I was expecting like more of a tan shade, but I'm not mad about it. I really like the color. My only thing is I feel like they just really kind of ruined the user experience with the products by having this packaging be so young looking. Like, here they are dropping these awesome products with, you know, this cruelty-free brand and incredible prices, and then they just ruin it with like stars, like holographic stars everywhere. And like the lip cream has flowers and butterflies all over it. Like, they were so close to really hooking me as a fan, but I just can't get on board with their packaging. And I'll show you the packaging of the other products a little bit later. So I was just kind of bummed. Like, if they just got rid of the holographic part, I feel like already it would have been a better experience and I would have felt like it was a little bit more sophisticated. So I would love to see them work on their branding a little bit more. And while we're talking about the lip gloss, weirdly, I have another Victoria Beckham comparison. It feels almost exactly like the Victoria Beckham lip gloss. I'm gonna do a comparison. Okay. I'm gonna do the lip luminizer on one side and Victoria Beckham on the other so I can really press my lips together and compare the formulas. So that is the Moira Lip Luminizer in Beloved. And on this side, similar applicator, Victoria Beckham Gloss in Fizz. Okay, ignore the color. Wow. Okay, Victoria Beckham is a little more luxurious, a little bit more cosmetically elegant, like a little bit like a hair thicker in a good way, like a hair like smoother. I don't know what it is. Really, really difficult to tell the difference between the two. Wow. I mean, they're almost the exact same formula. It's crazy how similar they feel on the lips, but I mean, for the price difference, insane. So here, you know, you're getting that beautiful Victoria Beckham branding and packaging. It feels heavy and weighted and luxurious as well. Slightly more cosmetically elegant formula, but honestly, if you're on a budget, whether you're on a budget or not, I think this is really good. And lastly, in the hits category, we have the Moira must-have lip liner in the shade number 4, which is Warm Toast, and this is just $5. This is very similar to like the classic NYX lip pencils that everyone's been using for ages. And the claims are that the must-have lip liner is a rich and creamy lip liner that applies with one swift motion. A highly pigmented formula that lets you customize your look, blah, blah, blah. So I've had a lot of thoughts on this lip liner, and I've actually been thinking about how I want to describe it for like a month, and I still can't really wrap my head around it because on one hand, this feels more like an affordable or like drugstore brand, very much like a NYX lip liner, but I feel like it's creamier than that. It does have a little bit more pigment. It does have a little bit more creaminess than the NYX pencils, which I personally find to be a little bit dry. And the shade Warm Toast is really pretty. I was trying to find a dupe for Thrive's lip liner in khaki, and I think this is a really great alternative to that one for just $5. It's just like a really beautiful kind of warm, medium to deep brown shade, which totally works on my skin tone, but I think would be more of a nude on someone with a deeper skin tone. So I'm just gonna apply it since it wore off. Basically, it does drag a little bit, like it's not the glidiest lip liner ever. Personally, I do prefer the Victoria Beckham lip definers. I prefer Citizen Cosmetics, the Makeup Forever, blah, 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 but those are at a much higher price point. So see how pigmented this is? Like, I'm barely touching. Barely touching. My only complaint about this line is that like there really were not a lot of shades that appealed to me, but it doesn't matter because this one totally works. I just barely touch my lips and then I push it and blend it. And then I do the same thing over here. Since filming this video, I ended up placing an order for 4 more Moira eyeshadows, so I'm gonna talk about those now. I fell so head over heels for the Lucent cream shadows. I picked up 3 more. My favorite is the shade Comet, which almost looks like nothing on the eyes, but in a good way. I would describe it as a peachy gold or a peachy champagne. It just adds the perfect base on days when I really don't want much going on in my eyes, or maybe if I'm wearing a bold lip or bold cheeks. This one versus the other Lucent cream shadows I just talked about does not have any visible glitter particles. It's more just a satin finish. I was hoping that this would have a bunch of glitter in it, but it's not a big deal. I do think it's a really beautiful satin finish and it performs the way that the others do as well. Then I purchased the shade Phoebe, which is a kind of flaky yellow gold. And this one has a different finish as well. It's totally different from the others that I've talked about. And unfortunately on me, this ended up looking just really too patchy. I think you can see in the application clip, it's almost as if this has like a clear transparent base with just flecks of gold throughout. That's how patchy it looks. So maybe that's intentional. Maybe that's supposed to be the vibe. It's just not my personal vibe. Then I got the shade Alpha that looks really purple, but it has an almost like sheer pinky base in some lights, and then it flashes this bright violet in some lights and bright blue in other lights. It's really pretty. It has more of the finish of the shade Orion, which is like the satin base with kind of glitter on top of it. So not as glittery as Jupiter, not patchy like Phoebe, not a satin like Comet. So I thought this one was really pretty. And then lastly, I got another Starshow shadow pot in the shade Muse. I would describe this as a coppery rose. In the pot and on the website, it looks like it's going to be much more of an almost mauve-y rose, and I was really excited about that. I thought maybe it could be a dupe for one of my favorite colors in the Rowan 1111 quad. Unfortunately, when this is on my eyes, it pulls way more orange than it looks in the pot. So it's definitely more of a coppery rose than it is just a rose or a mauve-y rose. So unfortunately, I didn't really love this one either. So I think I'm going to give a couple of these away to some friends, but beautiful finish like all the other Starshow shadow pots. Just that kind of epic foiled metallic look, super, super shiny. It's just beautiful, but it's not exactly the shade that I was looking for. And that's kind of one of the reasons I get bummed about the Moira website, is that they really don't have any helpful swatches. But at the end of the day, luckily they are very affordable. I'm gonna move into the just okay category. And for that one, we have the Lip Plush Cream in the shade Lullaby. And I'm gonna apply that really quickly just so I can get a lip product on. Again, another, flexible-ish paddle applicator. I really like the applicator. It's like a thin-ish kind of creamy matte lip formula, and the shade is like a cool toned rose. So now I'll drop in the application footage of me applying this product on its own close up. So they say that the Lip Plush Cream lipstick is a lightweight, creamy formula infused with mango seed butter, coconut oil, and jojoba oil for comfortable wear without drying the lips. It's a satin finish with high pigment payoff for ultimate wear. This is where I kind of start disagreeing with them. This to me is pretty drying on the lips. I filmed a video with this yesterday that I ended up deleting, and it just felt like really parched by the end of the video, and I felt like I had to like kind of scrub my lips and then go put a thick lip balm on. But it's not uncomfortable while you're wearing it, it's just uncomfortable once it's like faded from your lips. But it does feel like a little bit drying. I would compare this to something like, the MAC Cosmetics Powder Kiss liquid lipsticks. The M Cosmetics Soft Spoken Velvet Lip Creams are one of my favorite formulas. They're so blurring on the lips, whereas this one does kind of accentuate my lip lines a little bit. Another similar formula would be the Sunny Space lip dips that are really comfortable and balmy as well. But, for an affordable brand, I do think it's a really good product, keeping in mind the price point, which is $7.50. I think it's a really good product. It's just that when I compare it to other matte lip formulas, I feel like matte lips are a product where it's really worth the splurge to get something super comfortable and flattering, because nobody likes the feeling of dry lips. But if you're on a budget, not a bad formula by any means. The only thing that kind of bothered me about this is that this looks completely different to the website. So this, as you can tell, is very much like a cool toned color. Like it's kind of a purpley rose. Online, I'm going to put in a picture of what the swatch is, like the artificial swatch on the website. It looks a lot warmer. So I thought I was getting like a peachy rose shade, and I got something completely different. Also on the model, the lips look entirely different. And so it just kind of is frustrating that their website is not helpful when it comes to accurate colors. I feel that way about almost every brand. Like I hate digital swatches. It never helps. I wish we just had like iPhone pictures of every product in natural lighting, and then that would probably save brands a lot of money on wasted products. It would save people money on wasted products. It would solve world hunger. It would do all the things. If we just had some better swatches, the world would be a better place. I do agree that it's really lightweight though. Like it's super thin on the lips without being like slip slidey or overly unflattering. It has a satin finish, it says. I would say it's more like satin matte, but honestly, not a bad product, just like not my favorite. Honestly, I want to take it off because it's not very comfortable. I'm just gonna apply the lip luminizer one more time. And last in the category of products that were just like, okay, is the Diamond Daze Liquid Shadow in number 5 Eye Contact. This is $8.50. And there are 2 reasons why this didn't work out for me. 1, I had a lot of fallout at the end of the day with this one. 2, this burned the shit out of my eyes. It was interesting. The first 2 times I tried it, it was totally fine. And then when I went to wash it off on the second time that I wore it, it was actually after, I think I wore it in my earthquake video. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it on the screen above. Basically, John and I were in an earthquake. I was doing a get ready with me, talking all about the experience and how it changed my relationship, yada, yada, yada. I'm pretty sure I applied it that night. And when I went to shower it off and I like used my cleansing balm on my face, my eyes were like on fire. And I was just like, oh my God, in the shower. And I got out of the shower and my eyes were on fire and they were super red and horrible. But I had my Tatcha serum and cream treatment on hand and put like a thick layer over my eyelids and I was completely fine the next day. That's a miracle product. Tangent, I know, side note, but if you struggle with eczema, sensitivity, anything, the Tatcha serum and cream overnight indigo treatment will change your life. It really will. So it wasn't that much of a disaster. A lot of times when I have reactions like that, it can last me several days of like really bad inflammation. So I haven't worn it since then because I was just a little bit too scared to. I had the same kind of reaction though with the Stila Glisten and Glow shadows that, you know, everybody loves, like Amanda Z loves them. I prefer the Glitter and Glows from Stila. Those don't sting me at all. And if you compare this to the Stila Glitter and Glows, you have almost the same product. So I feel like Moira's out here like secretly duping some of like the best products out there in the beauty market, like without being overt that they're dupes. I don't know. It's just, there are too many similarities with like really good brands and really good formulas that I've tried to like feel like they're not intentionally duping them. I don't care either way. I think it's great. I love when affordable brands dupe luxury brands. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I'd rather save a buck. And the shade Eye Contact is just really beautiful. I love it. I wish this didn't sting my eyes, so I might continue testing it out, but I did see a couple YouTubers review this, and as they were applying this for the first time on camera, they were like, ah, oh my God, and it was stinging their eyes, but other people have said that it's totally fine and it didn't sting them. So just word of caution, if you have sensitive skin, maybe just buy one and test it out, you know? I got a little bit ahead of myself and I forgot to talk about the claims. They say that this is a non-crease, no fallout, long-lasting formula that glides on effortlessly, creating the perfect eye-catching look. It doesn't crease, there's just a lot of fallout. For me, this was just like a so-so, you know, normally if I have a long night out, I want something a little bit more long lasting, but it's not really a big deal, but I kind of draw the line when it comes to irritation. Moving on to the category of fails, we have the Moira Lucky Chance blush in the shade 5 Melody. So this is only $6, and let's talk about the claims. The website says, Moira Lucky Chance blush in 10 irresistible everyday shades with a lightweight, silky formula that easily blends, delivering a high pigment payoff. Okay, so it definitely is a high pigment payoff, that is for sure. And it says self-love, endless happiness in the pan, which to me, like not my thing. But hey, if you're like a positive affirmations person, all the power to you. This is super pigmented, but it is also very powdery. There's a lot of kickback, and they had mostly like medium to deep shades on the website. I think there were only 2 shades that were really light. So it's possible that I would have had a better experience if I'd gotten a lighter shade, because I assume that there would be less pigment. So take my review with a grain of salt. Like if you have a medium to deep complexion, this might be beautifully blendable into your skin. This might be super easy to apply, but for me, this particular shade, just, there was so much kickback. Even when I tapped off the brush, it went on a little bit too intensely, too patchy, and then I had to take my foundation brush and kind of blend it out. So, you know, maybe just get a shade that more matches your actual skin tone. But I would agree it's lightweight. I mean, I don't think I've ever met like a heavy blush, so I don't really know what that means, but I guess it feels silky enough and, you know, delivers a high pigment payoff. So I don't really have anything to disagree with. I just didn't really like the shade for me, and the fact that also the packaging is, you know, pretty cheap looking. When it comes to blush, I do tend to prefer something a little bit more luxurious. I like the experience of that. I don't know, I'm just not drawn to this powder blush. I feel like there are 100,000 powder blushes you could buy from any affordable brand, and I just don't think that this is anything particularly special that like sets itself apart. And the last product I tried that's unfortunately a fail for me is the At Glance Stick Shadow in Rose Beige and Cashmere Rose. These come in 16 shades. They're $7.50, and the website says, At Glance Stick Shadow is a 3-in-1 versatile eyeshadow stick that can prime, define, and highlight with ease. This long-lasting creamy formula glides onto lids and blends easily to help achieve subtle to smoky eye looks anytime. It says that it is also water-resistant, crease-proof, long-lasting, and retractable. Let's talk about the first one I purchased, because I ended up placing 2 orders. Cashmere Rose is the first one I got, and it looks like it would be really pretty when I swatch it on my hand. It's kind of like a pinky beige beige or like a slightly rosy sandy beige, but when I apply it on my lids, it does not show up. It's like almost the same color as my skin. So that's a my bad. Like, you know, it looks like it would show up when I swatched it on my hand, but my hand is a lot lighter than my face. Again, if the website had been better at showing what the actual colors are, then I think I would have had a better experience, because looking at the digital swatches, the artificial swatches, I'll actually put a picture here. The artificial swatches on the arms of the colors look nothing like what they actually are in person. Cashmere Rose looks so pigmented and a lot darker than it actually is. And while we're talking about colors, I'll just finish off with Rose Beige before I talk about the formula. So Rose Beige actually does show up on my lids, but only by a little bit. I just went like a little bit darker on the website because I wanted something natural, like an everyday shade, and I didn't want to go too dark. The website made Rose Beige look like a really dark shade, or at least just darker than I was expecting. But on my lids, again, it looks dark on my hand, and then on my lids barely shows up. But it is enough definition to really give me like a nice polished look. But unfortunately, the formula just really falls flat here. It is so stiff. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it, but like, since I just did the swatches, it's kind of already warmed up and creamy, but like, it's really waxy, really heavy, kind of sticky. If I could compare it to something, it's a lot like the Nude Sticks formula. Moira is out here and they are like, I'm taking all of y'all's best products and I'm gonna dupe them, because I'm realizing I hate this because this is like the Nude Sticks ones, and I hated the Nude Sticks ones because they were stiff and sticky and heavy on my lids. And that is exactly the experience with these. So if you love the Nude Sticks ones, you might really love these. FYI, I had a different experience with the Nude Sticks. I felt that the luminous ones were like a lot more glidey, but the matte ones were like really heavy and waxy and sticky. So yeah, just not my favorite stick shadow, but I would say give these a pass. Unless you really like the matte Nude Sticks eye crayons, then I think you could probably find better value elsewhere. I didn't really like the Laura Mercier or the Bobbi Brown ones. So, you know, eyeshadow sticks aren't really my thing in general, but not a terrible product, just not for me. I'm sold. I think that they're really great, and I know that I'm going to be buying more of the Lucent cream shadows. I cannot get enough of those. I can't stop wearing Orion. Anyways, I'm rambling here because I'm just very excited about the brand, but if there are other products you think I should try, please let me know what you think I'd like. And let me know if there are any other brand reviews you want me to do. I've got Gen C, Victoria Beckham, LH Cosmetics, and Make Beauty brand reviews coming up. So leave me some other suggestions if you have any, or video ideas in general. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow. And I hope you're having an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one.